In this episode of Flea Market Rescue, we're going to make this awesome farmer's market sign from a sign that I got from the thrift store. We'll also use the new Iod mold to make this three-dimensional cow for our sign. I love this flower market window display. We'll make that by using this old window frame that my mom got me. We'll make some cool lettering, and then we'll add some fencing that I found on the curb on garbage day. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good seller. And lastly, we'll take these metal trays that I got at the flea market and turn it into a beautiful piece of farmhouse decor. So if you're ready for this week's episode of Flea Market Rescue, then let's dive in. Before we get started though, I just want to welcome you if you're new here to Flea Market Rescue. My name's Kelly Sherry. I do a lot of home decor makeovers and furniture flips. If you're interested in learning how to do some of this, make sure to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell. That way you'll get notified every time I post a new video. I found this sign at the thrift store. Originally it was, let's see, $5.99, but they had 75% off of everything. So I got this sign for $2. And we are going to make it look awesome. So I started by sanding the whole thing down so that it'd be nice and smooth. Next, I used this Behr paint and primer in one. It's a Sherwin-Williams color that I had color matched, and the color's called Pure White. So I am just basically going to cover this entire thing with white paint, and then we'll go from there. You want to make sure you get all around the sides too. And once that's dry, we're going to flip it over and paint the other side. And while that's drying, let's take a look at some of the new releases from Iod. This is the new transfer out by Iod. It comes in 4 sheets, so you can join them together and make one large print. This is a cool looking pig print, and then they also have a sheep print too, and that also is in 4 sections that you would join together to make one large print. I love these and I cannot wait to use them on some furniture. Next, we have these animal molds. I was so excited when I saw these. They have a sheep, a cow, a pig, and I cannot wait for us to use them. We're going to use them in this project. So the first thing I'm going to do with this mold is I'm going to use a little cornstarch to starch it up. And I want to use the sheep. And I also want to use this cow. And I definitely want to use these here on the sides. So those are all starched up. And then now we're going to use this right here. It's called Magic Sculpt. I use it on everything. It's a 2-part. So here's some of the resin, here's some of the hardener. You want to take equal parts of it. Now I always wear gloves because this white stuff is pretty sticky until you have it all mixed together. As you can see, I've used it before, and look at this, would be all on your hands. So I'm just going to take some of this hardener here. And believe it or not, a little bit of this goes a long way. So I just kind of go by feel. This looks like 2 equal parts to me. I'm just gonna mix these together. You just kind of want to twist it and just keep on mushing it together. And when you don't see any more of this gray, then you know it's mixed properly. We're gonna make both the sheep and the cow. The sheep will be for a later project, and we will make the cow for this project. Start putting some of this in here. Just kind of want to take small pieces and add them into your mold here. Now once you have it all smushed in there, then now we're going to smooth it out. And we're going to pop this into the freezer for 15 minutes and it's going to come out beautiful. So I'm taking this out of the freezer and look, it's just popping right out. And we have a sheep. It's a little frozen, so what's nice is you can kind of work with it if there's a little bit of clay hanging off without worrying about ruining your piece. I think he's super cute. So we're just gonna let that dry. And then in the meantime, we're gonna do this cow here. So I mixed up a little bit more clay and we're gonna repeat the same process. We're just going to add little pieces in to the mold here. All right, that's looking pretty darn good. We are just gonna pop that in the freezer and we'll come back and see what we got. Now, this has a little hole in it, so I just wanna take a little of this magic sculpt that we have and just kind of fill that in, because I don't know why they drilled all the way through. There was no reason to, but because actually if you look on the back, there was a place to hang, so they drilled all the way through. Anyway, I don't need this here. So we're just gonna kind of patch up this hole. I'm gonna take a little water, because water and the magic sculpt just make it like it smooths it out. So if you just get a little water on there, again, this just smooths right out. And then tomorrow, if it's kind of lumpy, we can always sand it. All right, I think that's pretty good. And then this was a little broken up, so I'm just gonna put a little in here. Might as well fix that too in the back. All right, so I just took this out of the freezer. Let's see how it looks. See how easy that comes out? Just pop this in the freezer for like 10-15 minutes and then you don't have to worry at all. So I'm just kind of, anything extra, I'm just gonna kind of peel off. All right, I think that looks pretty good. We're just gonna let that dry. Put them over here with the sheep. And then our last thing is we're gonna make these. It sort of looks like, I don't know, grain, hay. So we'll make a few of these. And then you're going to want to let those pieces dry overnight. All right, so I'm going to use a little of this DIY paint in Little Black Dress. While those pieces dried, I designed something in Photoshop and took it over to Silhouette Studios, where I then cut it out on my Cameo. I then peeled off the excess vinyl, and then I weeded out any extra vinyl that was left. You want to carefully peel back your transfer tape. Then you're going to line up your vinyl decal the best you can and try to keep it centered. Using a credit card, you're going to go over that transfer tape. Then you want to take your time and go very slow peeling off the transfer tape. If you see that the letters are not sticking, just go over them with the credit card again and go very slow. All right, now that we have that done, we can take our cow that we painted and kind of put that in the middle there. I have this grain. You can kind of go like that. And then I did do lettering for the bottom, but you know what? It actually is just too narrow of a sign. So if we want, we could do like produce here and then dairy over here. I think we could do that. So I'm just gonna cut this up. We'll cut produce and we'll cut up dairy, and then we can put that like that. Or we don't have to use it at all, but since we made it, let's just do it. So I'm just gonna use some of that transfer tape that I had. Put that right over there. Now we're going to use a little of this type on so that we can just glue down our cow and also that grain or wheat or whatever you call it. And I thought it would look better if we put the wheat or grain again on each side of like the produce and dairy. I thought it would look a little better. I was going to put these here, but I kind of like them like at the end. So maybe that's what we'll do. We'll put these right at the end here. The reason I'm using a brush is because the top is really clogged. I need a razor blade. I need to cut into it. And ain't nobody got time for that. I gotta get these projects done. So I figured I'd just use a brush, it's just so much easier. All right, so that is looking pretty darn good. Love this sign. Here's an old window frame that my mom brought over for a project, and we're going to use it today. Yes, that is a baby crib. I had plans of doing a project with it, and I just have not gotten around to it, but we're going to do it one day soon. Anyway, I found this on the curbside and I thought this would be perfect too. Someone was throwing out this fencing. I could not believe it. Okay, so I'm gonna start by cleaning this up here. I have some Clorox wipes. We're gonna just clean the edges around and then we'll clean the glass. So anything that comes off is fine, but I kind of want to keep this chippy white look because that's what makes it. You want to really clean up the edges here. Just want to clean all that up. I probably should have just used a scrub brush, but I was afraid a lot of that paint was going to come off. This is still pretty dirty, so what I'm going to do is just going to wash it up with some warm water. And we'll let the sun dry that out. Just gotta clean that up too. Like I said, we'll let the sun dry that out. We have some nice soapy water on there. In the meantime though, I think we could it's probably safe to say we can cut the fence post here. We need to cut this right here to be that size. I think we can leave the sides because they actually fit pretty good there. But again, these here need to be cut. And if you look, I think they got this fencing, it says Green's Fence Company. But I seen another sticker on another one that said Menards. So you probably can get some of this at Menards if you can't find it in the garbage. Someone throwing out their fence post. So first things first, we are gonna cut this to match that. So it kind of looks like that. And we're gonna make one more cut about right there. All right, so I think that's gonna look good. Put that right there. Again, we're just waiting for this to dry up. The sun's really powerful, I'll tell you, it's almost dry. Then we're gonna clean the glass and then we're gonna put like a saying on this. All right, so our window frame has already dried and we cut out our little fencing to go on that. Right now, I'm just gonna clean the glass and we're gonna clean it with some of this. I love this stuff. During the pandemic, there was no Windex, so I had to get this, and I'm so glad that I did because it's very lemony, it's streak-free, and it doesn't smell chemically, like it doesn't have that chemical smell like Windex. And just so you know, I'm not paid to say that or anything. I'm just sharing a product I like. I get that at Kroger's and it works awesome. All right, so now that we got everything all cleaned, I see like some of this paint, it's not gonna stay. It's gonna end up chipping and falling off. So I'm just gonna take a scraper and anything that falls off, we're gonna let fall off. I can always add in a little paint too. It doesn't make sense to keep it on there if it's just gonna fall off. All right, so now we have chipped away all the paint that's gonna fall off, and I just kind of want to add a little more of that white back in, so we're gonna use this Behr Paint and Primer in 1. Just gonna kind of put it in various spots. After that, I went into Photoshop and designed 2 designs for our window. One design was for the company and what they do, and the other design was for the products that they sell. I took that over to Silhouette Studio and I cut it out on my Cameo. I love this thing. You can make so many cool designs with it. Now, if you don't have one of these, I will have both of those designs in a vinyl decal for you to purchase if you want to make something like this. I peeled off any of the extra vinyl that wasn't part of the design, and after that was complete, I weeded out any extra vinyl that might have been left over. I then repeated the process with the other design. Alright, our paint is dry. I just kind of stuck that up to kind of see how it's going to look. I think it's going to look awesome. Then we'll nail in our little fence. I also have this that I bought at Hobby Lobby. We're going to use that to hang it, and we're going to use these little eye hooks to hang that as well. They're screw eyes, they're called. I got them at Home Depot. Alright, so we are just going to screw these in. It looks like actually there was something there at one point. And we're just going to do the same thing with the other one. These are really going in pretty easy. Now we're just going to take our rope and put that in. Also, I just want to say that you really want to make sure those eye hooks are in there good, because these window frames can be kind of heavy. This rope actually has a wire in it, so it's going to be great for hanging. You want to give yourself enough rope that you can wrap it around a few times without it coming apart. So I'm just twisting that rope, and I'm also feeding it back through the eye hook and twisting it some more. You want to make sure this is really tight and secure as well, because you don't want this to fall and break your glass. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So I'm just going to cut right here because we have enough rope that we can feed it through and wrap it around a few times. Again, you just really want to make sure this is super secure. We're going to do a quick little test here. Yep, it holds, so we're good. With a razor blade, I am just kind of scraping off any paint that we might have gotten on the glass when we were painting it white. Definitely want to do that before you get the fencing on, otherwise it'll just be too hard to get in there. We're going to use some of this Type On, and we're going to add a little glue to the sides, and then we're going to nail the fence down. Using a credit card, we're going to go over the transfer tape to make sure that the design is sticking to the transfer tape so that we can transfer it onto the window. Then you want to carefully peel back the transfer tape and align your design onto the window, centering it. Now with a credit card, we're going to go over the transfer tape to assure that the lettering is sticking down to the window. Now you're going to want to carefully peel back your transfer tape, and if any of the letters should not stick, just go over it with your credit card again, and then again carefully peel back your transfer tape to reveal the design on the window. I don't know about you, but I am loving this already. Now we're going to repeat the same thing with the other side. Earlier that day, I had went to Hobby Lobby. I picked up this great lavender as well as some greenery. It was 50% off, and that's when you want to buy this stuff. Just kind of stock up on it when you see that sale. All right, so as you know, I bought all this from Hobby Lobby, and we're just going to add that in. We're going to start cutting these apart so that we can tuck them behind our fence. So we want them to come about right there. Just cut a few of these. Now that we have these all clipped apart, we can easily arrange these behind the fence and make this look really pretty. So I'm just adding in our greenery, and then we also are adding a little lavender to that, and it's just a great mixture. This is looking so pretty. I love it. Wow, will you just look at that? I think this is going to be a big seller. I actually have 3 more window panes and 3 more pieces of fencing. If you want to do something similar, I'll have these vinyl decals in my Etsy store. This reminds me of like an old flower shop window display. I think this came out awesome, and I can't wait to put it in my booth. You could even hang this from a pergola if you have like a deck structure. So I bought these, which I thought would work really good on the glass. You could put how much the prices are, and at least you could wipe it off. Like you could put down what carnations would be, $15, maybe like a lavender bundle, $8. And again, the prices would be able to be wiped off. This was definitely one of my favorite projects to make. Now, if you remember, a couple weeks back, I went to the flea market and I found these metal tobacco trays as well as these burlap ribbons. I bought these at the flea market for $5 each. I'm not really crazy about the yellow on these, so we're going to do 2 in gunmetal and we're going to do 2 in white. Okay, so these 2 we're going to do with the Rust-Oleum gunmetal. This is the Rust-Oleum gunmetal paint. I love this. So I'm just going to spray that over there. It's a nice dark gray. It looks just like metal. Already, that is so much better. We'll do this other one over here. All right, so these are all dry. We're just gonna flip them here and spray the back. If you noticed, I left a little of the rust on there, which I think gives it a little more character. Now while those were drying, I ended up painting the other two white. We'll use those in another project. Alright, so we spray painted this and that's completely dry. We also made our sheep from those Iod molds. We're going to take one of these round pieces of wood. It's from Woodpile and I got it at a Hobby Lobby. So we're just going to use one of these here. Alright, so I'm going to take one of these rounds here. And then, remember when I was at the Utica Flea Market, I picked up some of this really cool ribbon. We're going to use some of that ribbon on this right here. I am going to kind of glue that, a piece of that down. I'm going to cut that right now. We're just going to hot glue that onto this here. I'm just going to cut around here. Kind of cut the excess off. Okay. Now what we're going to do is, I have this wreath. I got this at Target. And I just glued a piece of thin burlap together like this. I'm going to glue this down onto that. We're going to put a little bead of glue on the back here to hold that in place. I'll flip that back over. And now we're going to take our sheep and we're going to put our sheep right in the middle here. We don't even need to paint it because it's completely white, and that's basically what I would have painted it because black would not show up well on this. So I'm just going to place him right in the middle here. And look how cute. You could hang that on the wall, and I think it just looks awesome. As you can see, this is a very simple project, and I think that we made a really cute piece of farmhouse decor. Well, that's it for this episode of Flea Market Rescue. I hope that if you like these videos that you'll share them with others, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. That way you'll get notified every time I post a new video. I'm Kelly Sherry, and this has been Flea Market Rescue.